everybody, so today our live Q&A, which has been slightly thrown together at the last minute, is going to be about the rental market and the sales market right now, what's happening and what we predict is going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the rental market, about stock levels and demand. So we've had quite a big change this year. We've seen the impact of the change of the tenancy agreements that we've had in Scotland. So we had the PRTs, which started at the beginning of December.
Yeah.
And those have had quite a big impact on stock levels over the summer in the rental market. So what we've seen, whereas before the PRTs came into force, we used to see tenants being tied into their tenancy agreements, particularly students, and they'd be tied in until maybe the July or the August time. Yeah. Now, with the PRTs, tenants are able to give their 28 days notice if they're on one of these new PRTs.
Is that at any time?
At any time, they can give their 28-day notice. So what we found this year particularly is a lot of students who finish their exams, final exams normally, they finish their exams and quite often their courses actually end in sort of May time.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of people giving their notice to tie in with the end of their exam time, sort of end of May time. And so there was a real flood of properties coming to the market in May, June, July, and this had particular relevance to HMO properties. And what we saw was because all of these properties came to the market in that early part of the summer, there wasn't the demand for tenants to want them at that time because students weren't coming to take up a property until now August, September time. And so a lot of those properties have actually been lying empty over the summer, and that's been quite a big blow to HMO landlords. And because there's now a lot more of them available, properties which would have gone like that are now sitting in the market for a bit longer. Some of them have gone stale, they're still sitting there, have been for a couple of months, still looking for tenants. Most of them are going now, but really what's going to happen here is that HMO landlords are going to have to bring their properties up to a much better standard, which a lot of them have done anyway. We know the regulations on HMO properties are tight, but they are going to have to present them in a more appealing way to attract a wider audience and attract a bigger pool of tenants.
Do you mean by maybe like older students or perhaps younger professionals?
Exactly. So older students and young professionals who want to
stay there longer.
Stay there longer term. But those types of tenants want a better standard of accommodation. So the old floral sofa and the sort of crappy old furniture is just not gonna cut it anymore.
No.
Everything's going to be streamlined. Ideally, if you can fit in ensuite bathrooms, stuff like that really helps.
Yeah.
So that's been a big change that we've seen, particularly on the HMO side. It's not applied so much to other properties because they appeal to a broader range of tenants. So demand's still high in the rental market. Properties are still going really quickly. It's the same old story. If they're priced right and presented right, they are going super fast right now.
On average, how long?
The ones in the West End that we've had coming on in the city centre over the past 3 weeks, they are literally going on the first viewing. So they are tenanted within sort of 10 days of them coming to the market. So really quick turnaround. So demand remains high, supply is quite short, and we've not seen that many new instructions coming on. And the reason for that is definitely because people are feeling Brexit, dare I say it, unease, and a lot of people are just holding off deciding what to do, making any big moves in their personal life, and maybe holding off to see what's going to happen with the house prices. Overseas investors are still quite stable, there's still quite good demand from them. They seem to be a little bit less affected. They all are interested in what your opinion is on Brexit, but it's not really putting that many of them, I don't find, off investing. While we're on the subject of overseas landlords, overseas tenants are quite important, and the impact of Brexit is going to be really important on the whole Erasmus scheme. So in Glasgow particularly, and Edinburgh, but in Glasgow, and that's the market we're talking about today, we have a really big pool of overseas students who are tenants in properties, and everyone probably has seen the enormous number of student builds that have been built in and around the West End. These are all full, by the way, and we've still got other tenants looking to move into private rented accommodation. So there still is not enough supply, but I am conscious of how the Erasmus scheme is going to work once Brexit kicks in. We'll still have excellent universities here, which is why the students want to come here and they want to study at Glasgow and Strathclyde. And I'm sure that I hope it won't have a big negative impact on the number of overseas students coming to Glasgow to study. So supply of rental properties is still too low, there's not enough on. Everything's going quickly as long as it's priced right and it's presented right. Rents, I wouldn't say are skyrocketing up that much this year. They're kind of on a bit of a plateau. Certain areas that are really picked up, most of them are increasing but not taking big massive jumps, and generally the market's fairly healthy, and supply is short, so rents are going to increase. So I think that's pretty much it for me on rentals.
Sales, well, it's kind of similar to rentals. There's not enough properties on the market. We still have a huge amount of buyers registered looking for the right property. Lending is still incredibly cheap, so that's why we've got this massive pool of buyers just trying to find a good property. We are seeing across Glasgow most prices this year have gone up, but the number of transactions that have taken place is definitely down. So that's just sort of showing you that there's just not enough stock on, and there's too much demand. So we've got it is causing a few problems because first time buyers aren't able to move because there's not anything on, and that's affecting the market up the chain. Like Sally said, with the rental side, we do still have lots of investors actively looking, and these buyers tend to be more at the lower end of the market.
Competing with first time buyers.
Competing with first time buyers, exactly. So first time buyers usually, generally speaking, might have a go over your home report figure, whereas investors will be a little more cautious because they've got to make the balance work for the rental yield, which Sally knows pretty well, and she does advise our investors on what the best sort of level to go in at is. But to give you an example of a property that's come on, is a property that's just come on in Grey Street in the West End with us. It's a great location. It's in sort of Finniston.
It's a fab location. It's like overlooking the bowling green, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's really good location. It's 2 double bedrooms, reception room, open plan to this kitchen. It does need a bit of work. It's been rented out for a good number of years, but we've had a good amount of inquiries coming in. Maybe not as many as what we would have had last year, but from the first couple of viewings, we've had 3 offers on it, and it's going to a closing date next week. So that just shows you it came on this week. We've had viewings Monday, Tuesday, and viewings tonight, and closing date for next Tuesday.
So there's still a lot of demand for those sorts of properties.
Lots of demands for that.
And is that first time buyers for that sort of property or investors? Or?
It's been from the offers. It's been 2 investors, and one of them is not a first time buyer. It's someone who is moving areas and is looking to do the work, and either will live in it himself or maybe let his son rent it. So different, maybe slightly buyers than what we anticipated for that property, but there's lots of people going this evening, so we will see who does eventually buy it. Another example was a wee flat in Kinning Park area, which is incredibly popular again. There's
one of my investment hotspots.
It is an investment hotspot, And this was a one.
Let's not tell everybody.
This was a 1-bedroom tenanted property. I thought an investor would have snapped this up, but it's gone to a first time buyer, and it went on the first viewing. We did one viewing last Friday, we got the offer in on Monday, and that was it, gone.
God, that's quick, wasn't it?
Really quick, and lots of people who have missed out on that. We've got another one coming on in the same block, and they've already asked me to give them the details before it comes on, so they're trying to do perhaps an off-market sale with that because of the amount of interest. So although the sales market has maybe struggled a little bit this year, if you are selling, they are going really fast and usually for a good price. So it's not all doom and gloom, and Brexit has had an impact, but we are open for business, so we'll welcome as many properties on, and we will find you a buyer quickly and for a really good price.
Okay, so I think that's us for our market roundup. Any questions, give us a shout and keep watching.